Assalamu alaikum. I'm very happy to be online. Um, so I'm just going to give you a brief introduction about myself. I'm Mahinur Sumro. I am basically a recruiter headhunter, and I am a career coach. My company, Mushawar UK Limited, is an HR consultancy that's based in the United Kingdom, and we work with companies around the world about with respect to their recruitment requirements, their outsourcing requirements. We also handle their HR policy and process requirements. So as a career, I started my career as an HR professional, but then I eventually went into leading as a strategic partner. That kind of enabled me to become an entrepreneur eventually, to launch my own businesses. My biggest message or something that I keep telling people is to stay relevant, to stay humble, and to keep working hard. But when you're working hard, you should also be smart workers, because hard work without smart strategy is basically just not really worth it. So we're talking about job search and job hunting, and I'm here to help you to understand how can you reach out into the market and get the job that you love, or the job that you want, or start your career. I will be taking in questions, so I can see your questions. Any questions that you have, just share those with me and I will answer them as we go along, right? The most important thing when you're starting your job search is to understand, what do you want to do? If you're not very sure about your strengths and weaknesses, the probability is you will not have the passion to lead yourself into getting the right job. And that's very important right now. If you understand where you're good at, if you understand where you can focus, you understand, are your communication skills better? Are your presentation skills better? Are you someone who wants to sit behind a desk? Are you someone who wants to talk to people? These things, you evaluate all of these things that are important to you, and then you choose an industry or a job that suits your purpose, right? So first you understand what are your strengths and weaknesses, and then you focus on the industry that you want to apply into. There are a lot of times that you will realize that there's something that you want to do. You want to go into marketing, but you feel like you're still an introvert. So how do you change that about yourself? You work on the skills that are required on the job, make yourself trained on those softer skills and those development skills, and then move into that industry. The first thing you need to do after you've decided where to focus on is to work on your resume. Now, I've worked with a lot of people. I do career coaching. I do CV redesign and LinkedIn profile evaluations and all of that. And I have a decade of recruitment experience, so I can tell you when I say that recruiters take a minute, not even a minute, like 20 seconds to understand if your profile is suited for a role or not, or would they like to evaluate you anytime later as well. I always tell my recruitment team that it's not right. You should take your time to evaluate a resume when you've received something, but not all recruiters will be mindful, because there's a huge, usually there's a lot of requirements, especially in sectors like technology, etc. When you're recruiting 30, 40, 50 people at a time, it becomes very difficult to read and evaluate each resume very thoroughly. In addition to this, we have the artificial intelligence that has come in, which means that a lot of people are using softwares now to evaluate or shortlist resumes, and they're not looking at them themselves. So what they do is they fit in the job requirement, they into the software, and the AI then processes all the resumes and finds the most relevant resumes for them to evaluate or call for interviews. So if your resume is not right, it does not have the right buzzwords, it does not have the right terminologies, it does not tell everything about your education and your experience and your projects, then it's most likely going to end up in the bin and not even on a database, because a lot of times when we used to say that having a good database of resumes is the key towards successful recruitment, now what people are doing is, once they have evaluated a person or evaluated a CV and did not find it worthwhile, they always try to crash or bin it because they don't want to come back to it again. So this is a very crucial point for you to understand, because this is how international markets and international global recruitment industries are working now. These are the trends that are happening as of this moment. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to try and go through a list of things that you should be mindful of when you're drafting your resume, right? So take out your pen and pencil, make a quick note of what I'm saying, and maybe this could help you evaluate or elevate your resume in a better place, right? The first thing you do is you ensure that your contact details are right. Okay, whatever I'm saying right now about your recruitment profile or your resume, it's actually true for your LinkedIn profile as well. It's the same thing. It's LinkedIn is a more digital platform. But it is your CV, it is your resume. So whatever you're mentioning on your resume document, make sure that your LinkedIn document also states the same things. So that's the first rule. Make sure your resume and your LinkedIn profile say the same things. They have the same information, because a lot of recruiters and a lot of employers will want to know, why do you have different information on your resume and your LinkedIn? Means that you do not use information correctly and you may be lying. Okay. So first of all, make sure that your resume and your LinkedIn profile, they have the same information. Your contact details on your resume and your LinkedIn profile must be real, must be working, must be current. Make sure you're not using email addresses that are outdated or belong to you at a time when you were a child. So basically, you know, um, too good for you or happy girl at Hotmail. It's not the right email address kind of vibe that you need to use on your resume. So make sure, one, that your LinkedIn and resume have the same data. Two, that your resume and LinkedIn have the correct contact details. Three, make sure that your contact details are professional, your email address is professional. Then you move on to the summary point of view. A lot of people do not write a summary, they write objectives. Quite frankly, no one's really interested in the objective. Most people would want to know what you've been up to, what do you want to do. So draft a small professional summary of who you are, because this is the time that you can reach out to the recruiter and tell them what kind of personality you have. This is that time when you can establish emotional personal connection with your employer. So summarize in the right manner. Don't use a lot of adjectives, vague descriptions. I am efficient. Um, uh, you know, I'm a dynamic person, etc. No, talk about, I am a management degree or management professional who has experience in the HR or supply chain for so many years, and I have been and these are my strong traits. I can lead a team. I know how to if you're an accountant, I know how to handle ERP. I know I've worked on accountancy softwares. I've worked on SAP. So use your summary, use your professional summary both on LinkedIn and your resume to definitely tell details, important details about yourself. If you have improved your sales turnover or you have reached sales growth of a certain number that was great, then mention that perhaps in your summary if you're a salesperson, because that shows that you can sell. So make sure your initial LinkedIn or resume summary summarizes you in the best possible manner. It's your branding opportunity. Make sure you capitalize it. Then we move on to what should come next after the summary. If you're a young graduate who has just graduated or who is graduating or who has around 1 year of experience, your education details should be on the top, and then your experience details can come later. But if you are an experienced professional, even mid to senior, then your educational details should come perhaps at the really end of the experience profile, right? So you first detail your employment records if you're an experienced person. But if you're a graduate, you're soon to become a graduate, or you're someone who has 1 to 1.5, 2 years of experience, your education details should be mentioned first. Okay. Then you mention your employment details. Now, a lot of people, they ask me what to mention on employment details. And when I'm doing CV design and CV formatting, LinkedIn formatting, I'm telling people that people want to hear what you did right on the job. They already know what your job description might have been. See, you must understand that most recruiters and employers are already aware that a certain supply chain executive or an HR executive or an account executive has been performing a certain set of role. What they really want to know is how well you performed that role. What were the key projects that you performed during that employment period, and what were the key milestones you achieved during during that employment period. So utilize that space that you have on LinkedIn and on your resume under your employment experience to tell that this is all I achieved. These are my key achievements or goals that I met during my engagement and this company. It will show your growth. It will show how you are a doer. If in case you've been in a role where there weren't a lot of projects or achievements you can talk about, then perhaps you can mention like the key tasks that you feel like, talk about technical skills related to your industry. Then perhaps you can mention that. But still, don't copy and paste your job description from the HR that you got. That's just useless. That's a lot of information, and your resume is going to go on to 3 and 4 pages. And basically, the recruiter is not really interested to know this. What the recruiter is looking for is buzzwords, that is, any skills, any technical skills, any software exposure, any domain experience, and goals that you've met during your employment period. So what we've covered so now till now is, because a lot of people are coming and going, so I'm just going to cover it again. The first thing you do on an employment resume or LinkedIn is to make sure that employment resume and LinkedIn have the same details. Number two, your resume and your LinkedIn should have the correct contact details, and the contact details should be very professional. Number three, if you're a young graduate, and number three, you should have a professional summary of what you've done so far and what what you want to do or what you're capable of, both on LinkedIn and resume. Then you talk about your educational experience. If you are a graduate or someone who has 1 to 2 years of experience, so educational experience should come first, and then your work experience can come later, or internship experience or volunteer experience can come later. But if you're an experienced person who has more than 2 years of experience, then you must mention that your employment record, the latest job should be on the first, it should be mentioned first, and then so on and so forth. And then you can mention your educational details. A lot of people ask me if it's important to mention skills. I think it is. If you have not mentioned the skills and technologies or software or your capabilities or your knowledge on in your employment record, then mention it separately in your professional and technical skills and expertise right under your experience profile. So then what is most important, make sure that you're not making any grammatical mistakes. Make sure you write everything down on Word document. Make sure you run a grammatical check. and everything is sorted before you convert this into a PDF format. A lot of people would prefer PDF formats now. It looks more professional. If you can't convert it into PDF, that's also fine. A Word document is also fine. But yes, a PDF document is something that people find more relevant. Now, about your professional picture, whether it is LinkedIn or whether it is your resume, don't take selfies. Don't make it a very commercial picture. You're not seducing anyone. You're not um, you don't want to cringe someone, so the picture should not be cringe worthy. It should be just perfect, a professional photo, perhaps a passport size photo that you have taken. It should be relevant, which is decent. Don't put a picture that was like eons ago and you can't recognize yourself in that picture, so that doesn't work. In some cases you don't really need a picture as well, but in some certain cases, in certain industries, you do need a picture. So make sure you know the industry or the job that you're applying to, and then go forward with um, uh, you know and mentioning or not mentioning your picture. So we've just covered the resume and LinkedIn perspective in terms of what kind of communication should be there. I'm going to now talk about your LinkedIn profile, how to use your LinkedIn, and make sure that it's effective and you can utilize the maximum potential from LinkedIn. LinkedIn is so important right now because everything has become globally digital. We've got become a digitalized economy. Become a digitalized world, and everything is online. So you have to understand LinkedIn in certain ways. Not only helps you to connect with people or industries and network within your country, but also outside the country. A lot of people who want to apply outside the country should use LinkedIn, because at any point in time, recruiters can be looking for you. If you have the right skills and exposure, they could even offer you opportunities outside of your country. But your LinkedIn must be very professional. So when I'm talking about making LinkedIn professional, make sure that your LinkedIn contact details are updated, because if you have updated a wrong number or a wrong email address, people cannot get in touch with you. Recruiters need this information to get in touch with you. Then make sure that on LinkedIn you update a LinkedIn summary. All your education details are mentioned, all your employment details are mentioned. If you have any certifications, it's best that you upload these as well, because LinkedIn gives you the opportunity to link your certifications to your profile. Then you also pick out the top skills that you are good at and tag them on your LinkedIn profile. You can also tag your teammates and your managers on LinkedIn to show that you were working for a certain company and these were the people you were working for. So it helps employers to reach out to these people to get your references quite easily. Then what's very important is that you let recruiters know when you're looking for a position. LinkedIn has a feature where you can let the recruiters know when you're interested in a position, if you're interested in a full-time, contractual, project-based, remote position, everything is mentioned. All of those options are given to you. If you go to LinkedIn and to your profile, just under your name and contact information, there's a option which it says that let recruiters know that you're available for an opportunity. Click on that, or go to the settings on your LinkedIn profile, and on the right side, you will see that there's a settings, privacy and settings tab. Go click that, and from there you can go and see that there are job opportunities, or letting recruiters know that you're available for job opportunities. The link is right there, so you can start with saying that yes, I'm available for opportunities. Okay, a lot of people ask if everyone can see that you are open for opportunities. You don't want your employers to know. So there is an option again. If you just want the recruiters to know, you check on the recruiters only. And if you want everyone to know that you're looking for an opportunity, then you click on everyone. So you can choose who you want to show that you're looking for an opportunity. If you click on recruiters only, people or recruiters who have the recruitment professional suit on LinkedIn can then see you and approach you for positions that they're looking for. Now, that's a great thing, because whoever who is using a recruitment premium, LinkedIn recruitment premium feature, is not going to want to waste time and money in reaching out to candidates, and this is the right way that they can reach out to you. So they won't waste your time, you won't waste their time, and you both can connect very easily on LinkedIn. Secondly, it's very important that you understand that on LinkedIn, you need to have references. So for every employment period, I recommend that you have 1 to 2 testimonials for that employment period. It just shows that you were an appreciated resource, and people liked you for who you were and appreciated your work, right? So make sure that you have 1 to 2 testimonials for each employment period that you mention on LinkedIn. It looks really well for you. It looks like your profile is powerful. Secondly, it's very important to understand that LinkedIn is a professional network, and people do not like it when you inundate their feed with material that is not professional or is not in any way helping them out. So, so avoid posting comical things, forwards, religious and political debates. You can talk about global trends, yes, and you should, but avoid being very political or religious, or spamming others' news feed with things that they don't want to see. Because in all probability, if they see that you're spamming their news feed, they're going to go and unfollow you or remove your connection, which eventually is not great for you. LinkedIn page, जो भी information you're sharing, make sure it's very professional. It is related to your industry, it is related to your network, or it is related to some global information, trends or news. So people do not consider you as spam. They want to follow you, they want to read what you're sharing, and they are engaging with you. LinkedIn is instrumental in creating a lot of a lot of network opportunities, business opportunities. Mr. Abdullah Tariq has mentioned, how can we find clients for freelancing in LinkedIn? And tips, please. So, Mirza, a lot of people and a lot of employers are posting part-time and contractual positions online that you can apply for if you go and search it in the jobs tab. A lot of times what you can also do is you can start adding relevant people or people who you want to sell your services to on your LinkedIn. But make sure, irrespective of whether you're adding people for business leads or for recruitment, or you want to apply for a position, or whatever the reason, whenever you're sending the connection request, there's an option to send a message with your connection request. Make sure you write something down, something nice for people to read, and then accept you. It's an internationally understood standard anywhere in the world, outside of Pakistan, South Asia, basically, that, or Asia even. That if you're sending a request on LinkedIn or Facebook, people would like to know, why do you want to add them? LinkedIn pay, you get the opportunity to write a small intro or paragraph about why would you want someone on your LinkedIn profile and why have you sent them the LinkedIn request. So use that opportunity and write something relevant. Be like, I would like to grow my network. Your profile seems like you have a lot of experience and expertise in the domain that I would like to grow in, and I would like you to become a part of my network so I can follow you and learn a lot from you. Something like that, something that is pleasing for the other person to read and then add you. Once they've accepted you onto the network, you can also Mr. Mirza Abdullah Tariq, if you're still watching, you can tell them, you can email them that, hi, I am a certified or whatever professional on such and such thing, and I can offer you my contractual services or remote services, for your projects. If you're interested in getting this done remotely, please get in touch with me. My LinkedIn profile can be viewed. You can view my projects or my credentials here. So this is one way of reaching out to people for freelancing projects, and it works. It works. I can tell you, business leads work because I use LinkedIn a lot of times for most of my businesses, to create business leads, to get in touch with people. So LinkedIn network building is extremely important, and that can happen if you can decide which industries you want to work in, decide which countries you want to reach out to. It's always good to have mix and match of people from around the world. If you're in the pharmaceutical industry, it's best that you have people from the pharmaceutical industry, not just in Pakistan if you're based in Pakistan, but also from other countries like perhaps UAE or UK, or Latin America even. It only helps you to learn more about the pharmaceutical industry globally. It helps you to get connected with people in global positions. You can become friends, you can become co-workers, peers through LinkedIn if you have the ability to talk to people on LinkedIn nicely. It is really wrong if you use LinkedIn for anything else other than professional and business pitching. Please understand, if you send them very crude or informal messages, people would not appreciate it. People will not respond to it, especially in international markets. I can tell you, if you are not respectful about what you're saying, they will take no time in disconnecting with you or unfollowing you, and therefore your network's not going to be as effective as you want it to. So right now, what we've just discussed, I'm just going to summarize LinkedIn use. Make sure your LinkedIn is updated. It shows the same information as your resume. It has professional terms and terminologies. Whenever you're mentioning an employment tenure, make sure you type the goals and projects and achievements of that employment period. It's best that you have one or two testimonials at least for each employment period that you mention on your LinkedIn profile. Make sure you utilize the recruiter option if you're looking for for positions on LinkedIn. Make sure that you let LinkedIn know that you're looking for positions and you're open for positions and what kind of positions you're looking for. Make sure that you go into your settings and change that. Make sure your profile can be viewed publicly as well. If you're not on someone's network, they can still view some parts of your profile, especially your experience and your summary. Why? Because that enables them to add you if they're looking for skills that match your profile, and they can find these profiles on Google and other search engines as well, not just on LinkedIn. So make sure that your profile is public and can be viewed. If your profile is public, you can also customize the URL of your profile to match your name. For instance, my LinkedIn profile URL is Mahin N. Sumro, and I use that URL for everything else as well. So if you type Mahin and Sumro on Twitter, you will get my Twitter account. If you type Mahin and Sumro on LinkedIn, you get my LinkedIn account. If you type Mahin and Sumro on Facebook, you get my Facebook account. If you type Mahin and Sumro on Instagram, it gives you the Instagram account. So what I've done is I have made sure that all of my social media and digital profiles are based off the same URL, and no one has difficulty in looking for me and searching for me online. You can customize your profile's URL for almost all of your social media, and it's best that you do, because it will make searching easier for employers. When we're talking about job searching, I've just told you about how to fix your resume, how to fix your LinkedIn. Let's move on to job portals. Apart from LinkedIn, there are a lot of other job portals and job boards that you can make your profiles on. If you're in Pakistan, there are quite a few opportunities like Mustaqbil and Rosie, LinkedIn, Indeed. So I feel like I've covered quite a few, but there are a lot of job boards. Make sure that these job boards also have the same information that you've mentioned on LinkedIn and resume. It's actually very easy. All you need to do is first make a very good resume and then copy paste it to your LinkedIn. Or you can make a very good LinkedIn profile and then copy paste it to your resume and then copy paste it to all your other job boards. If you're applying on job boards that are outside of Pakistan, that, like for instance, a lot of people apply in Middle East. They use Monster, they use Indeed, they use Read in UK, they use CV Library in UK. So you can create your profiles on all these job boards and job portals, but make sure that the profile that you create has the same information as your LinkedIn and your resume. So we've covered now why should you that you should have the same information available all throughout your digital portfolio. Why do I say this? Because a lot of times companies are evaluating your profiles and they're searching you on Google, and they get simultaneously quite a few rankings or Google links to your profiles. Now, if one profile says something else and the other profile says something else and your resume says something else, the employer gets confused and is not very certain about what you're doing and who you are. So it's best that all of your job board, job portals, LinkedIn, and resume have the same information available for people to review. Let's move on to how should you apply once you see the position that you want to apply for. You send in a cover letter if they have asked for it. You send them your CV in PDF format. The cover letter should essentially be not too long. It should only be that, yes, I'm interested in this position that you've advertised for, and these are my skills, and I have this number of experience. So your cover letter should be a very small summary of your resume, and it should be at most 2 paragraphs long, because more than that, no one really wants to read it. So if they've asked for a cover letter, make a cover letter that is a summary of what you've done. Then your resume. Once you've applied, in all probability, most companies should respond to you once they've received the resume. They may not respond to you if you do not suit uh, their job requirements. It is unfortunate. I keep telling people that we should send out updates on whether people are shortlisted or rejected, but it is something that recruitment industry needs to still work on, and it's still working on. I know a lot of people who feel responsible for sharing updates about resumes, and I hope that this will be something that everyone is going to adopt. I know there's a lot of frustration that you feel as a job seeker when you do not get update on your profile. I've been there. It is very difficult, and I know your frustration, but it is something we can hope that is going to happen, because recruitment is now getting automated, and there's huge probabilities that once they reject your profile, you get an automated message, or if you get shortlisted for an interview, you get an email that tells you so. Once you get a call from your employer, a lot of times you may not have applied for a position, but a recruiter may still call you or message you. I keep telling people that even if you're not interested, it is best that you are polite and you respond back to them. You let them know that you're not interested at this point in time, but you may be interested in some other position later on. What you can also do is you can tell them that you're not interested in the position because, or so working for a certain employer, because you feel that um, um, it does not match the culture, or it does not match your aims or ambition, or you do not agree to work with a certain brand, or whatever your issues are. You let the recruiter know why you are not interested in the position. There are two reasons for it. One, of course, you're being nice. The recruiter is going to be nicer to you, and in all probability will remember you and get back to you, because you were professional in your dealings. Secondly, when you let a recruiter know what you're interested in, they will remember your profile, and whenever they have a position that matches your requirement, they will definitely let you know and they will get in touch with you. So it is very important that you let a recruiter know, even if you're not interested in a position, that you're not interested in a position. Why are you not interested in that position? So that even in the future, you can have a strong relationship with them and they can remember you. Recruiters aaj yahan hai, kal kahin aur hain, which means that recruiters may be working for one person and may be working in a completely different company and industry later on. So you never know when you're going to, face them. Recruiters move around. So it's very important that you build a relationship with recruiters, and in all probability they will help you locate your positions in the long run, because you develop a personal and professional relationship with them. Please, when I say relationship, I mean a professional relationship, one that does not cross any boundaries. You're professionally respectful of them, they are professionally respectful of you. It's a vice versa relationship. I'm just going to see Sayyida Kanzali is asking me, I'm yet to be graduated and I'm working part-time in a school as a marketing executive since 2017. So how should I put my experience in education on resume? Okay, so Kanza, what you can do is, like I said, if you're someone who's going to graduate, who is graduating, who will graduate in or who's graduated in the past 1 or 2 years, it's best that you put your educational information first and then your employment experience later, because because at that point in time you do not really have a lot to talk about in terms of experience. However, if you feel like your educational exposure or qualifications are not as good as your current employment, again, it really depends on how well are you being utilized in your current position. अगर आपकी अभी की नौकरी या अभी की job is great, you are getting a lot done, you have a lot of responsibilities, you have a lot of projects, you're learning a lot, then perhaps you can mention your employment before your education. But ideally what happens is that if you have less experience, you mention your educational qualifications first and then your experience. I hope I've answered your question. Afreen is asking, how can entrepreneurs, personal brands, marketer position themselves on LinkedIn? Anything that you can recommend? Of course. Okay, so LinkedIn is brilliant because you can use LinkedIn to brand yourself in phenomenal ways. I use it to brand myself. One, you create your company page, you create your brand page, and you use that page to constantly talk to your audience. You use your own page to constantly talk to your audience. How do you talk to your audience? You talk to them about what they're interested in. You keep posting relevant posts that not only talk about your services, your products, or your expertise, but also something that is relevant to them, something they can agree with. A lot of times, for instance, if I'm posting on LinkedIn, sometimes I'll post vacancies, sometimes I'll post something about my training that I'm doing, whatever. If there are new contracts that I'm signing, and keeping my business colleagues informed about all the progress that I'm making in my life on LinkedIn, and I'm publishing this as a news. Another thing I always do is keep publishing career tips or other relevant tips for people to take advantage of, because what happens is when they realize that I'm sharing something important, something that is worthwhile, they will start following me. My following right now is over 32,000 people on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn, as you know, has a connection limit of 30,000 people. So how did I get a following of 32,000 when there's only 30,000 connections allowed on LinkedIn? I did that because people started following me after I started posting with hashtags, relevant hashtags, certain things that benefited them, like career tips, like resume tips, like job interview tips, like How should recruiters publish job advertisements. So I'm not just talking to my candidates and job seekers. I'm also talking to recruiters and helping them become better recruiters. I'm also talking to companies, and I'm telling them that this is the policy or this is the trend that everyone is following. This is how you can engage your employees. This is how you can motivate your employees. So not only am I posting relevant articles from online, I read a lot. I read Entrepreneur, I need HR, Harvard Business Review. So I need read a lot of online publications that are relevant to not just my HR business, but business in general, management in general, technology in general, so that I can share these on my LinkedIn profile, and people who find this useful can start following me. This is how you can start building your brand. Remember to use hashtags whenever I'm talking or whenever I'm publishing anything about my business or myself. I always hashtag Mushawar UK Limited or Mahim Sumro or Mushawar Solutions, because I want to make sure that people are following my companies. So use your hashtags when you're publishing posts on LinkedIn, Facebook, etc., on your public profiles that you want people to follow, your brand or business entrepreneurial profiles that you want people to follow, right? Use the articles very well. Write blog. It could be just a 3-paragraph blog or 3-paragraph article, but it should be something that's constructive and that adds on to the experience and knowledge of people who are following you. So use the feature of article publishing on LinkedIn. Use the feature of posts on LinkedIn. You can also now do live videos on LinkedIn. So use Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live, and post videos, go live on LinkedIn and talk to your audience and talk to your network and talk to people about relevant things so that they can start following you. So as an entrepreneur, these are some of the things you can do. Like I said, make sure your LinkedIn profile is active. You're adding more people, add more people to your network. These people become your net worth. Your network becomes your net worth. What that means is through this network, you can create business leads and you can create business and you can create your net worth. That is your turnover and profits. So make sure on LinkedIn you're adding relevant people. If you're someone who's in the consulting business, you're in the marketing consulting business, you probably want to add chief marketing officers, CEOs, COOs to your network so that you can get in touch with them and pitch them your services. Or when you're publishing relevant information about marketing trends, your exposure, your experience, your expertise, your knowledge, your thoughts, they can see it, they can read it, and they can see, okay, this person talks sense and I should speak to them or reach out to them for certain, for more dialogue, and perhaps hire them or for a project, or give them a project, or hire them as an employee. So this is one of the ways that you can brand your entrepreneurial and personal brands and profiles on LinkedIn. Someone was asking me, yes, how can LinkedIn help professionals who are over 60 years old? You'll be very happy to know that especially in the international sector. I've been now working in international markets and recruitment in international markets for over a decade now. And I can tell you that the most positive news that you can hear from here is that they don't really care about, a lot of the big brands don't care about your age and will not care about your degree. All they want you to do is qualify their initial tests, their IQ tests, their thinking, qualitative thinking tests. If you pass these tests, then they will hire you irrespective of whatever your age is. So even if you're on LinkedIn and you're over 60 plus or whatever age you are, and you have the right skills, in fact, you probably have the right skills, you have the right network, you know a lot of people, add them, ask them to give you lots of testimonials, make sure that your profile is standing out, it should command respect. Your profile should speak for you. That is the you should be making impact with your profile. This is your branding opportunity. How do you buy certain things, and you how do you choose certain brands over certain other brands? Because that brand spoke to you, that brand showed premium qualities, you liked the premium communication, the packaging, the benefits of buying that product. So, LinkedIn and any other social media profile that you use, if you use it to brand yourself, to tell people how they can benefit from being in touch with you or working with you, then you've got it. Then then you're sorted. Another question that if I want employees from Middle East to visit my profile, what should I do more? LinkedIn works on a geographic level to quite an extent. So if you've mentioned that you're located in Pakistan or you're located in United Kingdom, there's a huge probability that they will show you things from that market and country more than anything else. But it works for your favor, in your favor. You can choose the industry that you want to belong to or you belong to on LinkedIn, and you can choose the country that you want to work in or belong to, and LinkedIn will show you material communication opportunities relevant to that region, so and that industry. So really, another thing that you can do is LinkedIn has groups, just like Facebook has different groups, like yourself. LinkedIn has groups that you can join, and you can keep in touch with people through those groups. You can keep evaluating the opportunities. A lot of someone asked me about freelancing opportunities. So a lot of those groups, LinkedIn groups, you can see that people post freelancing opportunities there, and you can capitalize on them, and you can apply through those LinkedIn groups for them. So use that as another way to bag freelancing projects. I am quickly going to also talk about if gotten this, how to nail your job interviews, or what you should think about when you're appearing for job interviews. We've already talked about resumes, we've already talked about LinkedIn, we've already talked about job boards, we've talked about using LinkedIn effectively, we've talked about networking. Let me now talk to you about how to rock that interview once you've called for that interview, right? It's always better to be on time, a little before, 5-10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's always better to be on time or before time, before interview. Okay, now another thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to mention how same rules apply for online jobs, because after COVID-19, a lot of the work has been disrupted and a lot of things have turned into online digital processes. Now, recruitment has also become an online digital process. To a certain extent, the international markets were already doing it. They were asking AI to artificial intelligence to interview people for them. They were asked, they were conducting online interviews before meeting people on in person. So online interviews are also now really big, or phone interviews are also really big. I'm going to talk about mobility and job search just in a bit, but let's just quickly go through what you should do when you're on when you're in an interview, right? So always be on time or before time, whether it's online, whether it's in person, you should be on time. Pick up the best dress from your wardrobe, whether you're going in person or whether you're actually appearing online. I will actually share a very funny example. There was very recently in the UK, there was a newscaster who was online, and he was reporting on some sports news. And what he did was he dressed business casual on the top, but he was wearing shorts. And people could see it because it was a work from home interview, and so the audience pointed it out, and then it became a huge thing, and that reporter had to respond back and apologize for not being appropriately dressed. um, and you must have seen a lot of memes that show that, oh, you dress up right from top to bottom, top to middle, and then the bottom you don't really care about. But I always tell people to dress really well, whether it is online or whether it is in person. Um, for men, I usually tell them that you should not look casual, don't wear sneakers, neckties, cufflinks, shiny shoes, make sure your shoes are polished. Women should not be too flashy or over the top. I tell people, your hair should be well done, but like I have curly hair, and sometimes they will not listen to me and be frizzy. So I can't really control it, but I try to make them as nice as or acceptable as possible. Personal hygiene is really important, so make sure that you don't have any body odor or your mouth odor. If you have mouth odor problem, keep a mouth spray with you. So just spray it before going inside the interview, or you could use a menthol chewing gum or something to make sure that the mouth odor doesn't bug the interviewers. Make sure that your body odor is taken care of. I know it's something that's perhaps very cringy, but it is something that you should think about. I always carry a small perfume or deodorant and use that before you enter a workplace or an interview. Ask them if you feel that you need to refresh yourself, to go to a washroom when you arrive at the job interview location, and freshen yourself up just before the interview so that you look your best. Look confident. Try to not let people make you awkward, or don't let them make you feel uncertain about yourself. People will cross question you, people will try to intimidate you, but don't get intimidated. You know who you are, and be confident about who you are, because if they don't want if it's something that they're not looking for, perhaps it's not something you're looking for as well, because you both need to have the same cultural values to be a good fit. So be confident about who you are. Most important thing that you should remember is never backbite about your previous employers, even if you had the worst time with them. Never backbite, never say anything negative about your previous employers in your interviews. Be professional, be courteous. A lot of times people will ask you and will try to bug you to get you to answer why you didn't why you left the job, or why you're leaving a job. Just be like, I feel like I've outgrown the opportunity, or I've outgrown the position and I need more challenge, or I feel that I've become redundant, or my work is mundane and I need more learning. This is why I want to switch. Make sure your cell phone is either switched off or on silent mode. Sit confidently. Don't be slouchy, don't be cocky, so like, don't have like so don't be overconfident, and don't be like too like scared, or so your body language and your tone, your voice tone should be confident and should exude confidence, whether it's online or whether it's in person. Keep a professional distance. Don't get too familiar or personal. What I mean by this is, when you're speaking to people, and even though if you get sometimes you are lucky and you get into a really good vibe when you're talking to people, but don't get too personal with them. Still remain, kind of make sure that you have a professional distance between each other. Do your research before your interview. So when you go into the interview, you know everything about the company, their competitors, their products and services. A comparison should, you should be able to compare their products and services with their competitors if they ask, or if you want to provide them some market knowledge during your interview. It's very good. Only the interviewers are not the only people who can ask you questions. You should be able to ask any questions that you want to, because just like they're evaluating you, you're evaluating them. So it's a great opportunity to make sure that you have the questions in your mind that you want to ask. Don't ask unnecessary questions just because you want to ask something. Want Ask questions that really matter to you, like what is my job description, who am I reporting to, what is the projects that you're working on, how are we affecting the marketplace, what is your growth strategy, where do you see yourself, where do you see your products and services, so have like really good knowledgeable questions that are going to make sure that that kind of tell you that you want to work for them, and satisfy your information thirst. Important thing that you must remember is, a lot of times what happens is, when we're confused, we tend to talk a lot sometimes and not listen to people. So listen to the question and then answer. Don't overdo anything. Avoid aggression, avoid conflict, don't show a lot of emotions, don't become weepy, don't become teary-eyed, don't become really offensive or defensive. Maintain a cool and calm position. Even if they try to aggravate you, it's because they want to test your patience. So a lot of times when you feel like an interviewer is being impolite or is trying to make you angry, he's just trying to see how you handle conflict and aggression. So that's really important. Whatever you do, do not lie on your resume, on your LinkedIn, on your job portals, and during your interview. Because whatever you lie about, you're eventually going to get caught. What if you say something that you know, and that's the first task that is assigned to you on day one, and you can't do it, and then you know what? You get fired because you lied. Um, do not use informal casual language like bro, dude, cool, chill, yar, bhai. Matlab, you know, be a little at ease, but not so much that you're talking to someone at home, right? Um, that's my tip for, these are my tips for interviews. And what I'm going to now just quickly do is um, um, wrap up the entire process of job search and job hunting and LinkedIn, so that you have now understood everything that we've talked about. We've talked about how to create your resume, how to create your LinkedIn, how to use your LinkedIn proactively, how to respond to recruiters, whether they call you, whether they email you. Just be polite, just be nice. If you can't talk to them at that point in time, ask them to call you at a later time that suits you, and when you can talk to them more freely. If you're not interested, let them know you're not interested. Why are you not interested? Your resumes format, we discussed what should be there and what should not be there, what you should watch out for. We've discussed how to use LinkedIn. If there's anything else that you really need to ask questions about, you can reach out to me, the handles that I've mentioned in this post. It was a fabulous session. Thank you for having me. I hope this helped you. I look forward to seeing you again.